Colin Sofi.
And this is Orange Crush.
So we lived in Portland, Maine. Colin is from Maine, I'm from Argentina, and we had, classic normal life, just 9 to 5 work. And when our second child was born, Camilo, we felt like we were ready for something different. We felt like we just wanted to go on an adventure, and to be honest, it was just the right time. Like, Colin was ready to leave his job, and we were all ready just to do something different. So, to be honest, we didn't plan at all for like 5 years or anything like that. It was more like a conversation in the car, and yeah, we just decided to drive from Maine to Argentina. Yeah, I think Colin's going to share a little bit about how we found this beautiful van.
So we looked for we knew we needed a van for our family of 4, plus a dog. We wanted 4-wheel drive, but all of a sudden we knew our like $20,000 budget was not enough to get into something that we felt like we needed. So we looked long and hard all around the country. I was ready to fly to Portland, Oregon to get a Japanese import. And then on the way home from a photo shoot one day, I saw this thing parked in somebody's driveway. And I just pulled in and knocked on his door and pitched him and gave him the story, the Maine to Argentina as a family of 4. And he was flexible enough to see there was a bit of an opening there. And so Sophie came back with the kids the next day and pulled on the heartstrings. And then 3 days later, he gave us one chance to make him an offer because he absolutely didn't want to sell it. But we gave him a number he couldn't refuse. And then what happened? We closed in 6 weeks. We moved in 2 hours after we bought it. And our house was on Airbnb the rest of the summer, so we could afford it. And so we're living at a campground, commuting to work every day with like 2 kids under 3. It was pretty manic, but that's the kind of suffering that we're into to be able to make this lifestyle happen.
Oh yeah, let's go and check out the inside. So when we got the van, there was a bed in the back, and he had like 2 leather seats here, and yeah, like basically nothing there. He just used it as a weekender. So the bed was actually lower, and under the bed were like 2 storage units. So what we did is like we basically emptied the whole space and started from scratch. And for us, we were conditioned because we had 2 kids and we needed seat belts, and we needed somewhere to put the car seats. So that's what, and then we also, was really important to get a counter space for us and storage space because we're living full time and we're driving all the way from Maine to Argentina. Now we actually have a lot of counter space. We still can add some upper cabinets, which we're still thinking about it. We feel like we like to have kind of open space. So we do feel like we have a lot of counter space and a lot of storage space. I do cook a lot. We have 2 kids, and it's 4 of us in here, so it was really important for us to have an oven and a 2-burner. So we went with this kind of stove that is a outdoor camp oven. Really, it works really well. The only thing that I could say about it is like it runs really hot. So I wish I had like a big burner and a small burner, but it's okay. And then the oven works great. I baked already like muffins and bread and all that. And then we have a pump and then a sink, and we don't have hot water, which we don't really mind. If we need hot water, we just like heat it up here in the stove, but we could actually add hot water if we wanted to. We are set up for that. Yeah, right now, I don't know, the shower situation is sometimes we meet people on the road and we shower, and sometimes we shower in the river, and sometimes we use that shower. But we are going to install an outdoor shower, and that's the plan. For us, it took us 2 months, 2 or 3 months to build. the space before we left. So we were in a crunch. Maine gets really cold in the winter, and the deadline was like January. So a lot of stuff didn't get done. Outdoor shower is coming up, and we are really looking forward to it. So for fresh water, we have 16.5 gallons of water, which is not much. And again, we left in January, and it was like we built it in 3 months, and we needed to leave. So another thing we didn't know was like, we love skiing, and we're in really cold weather conditions, and we just didn't know if our water was going to freeze outside. So we started with 5-gallon jugs, and we were like, see how this goes, and it didn't freeze at all, and so we're now deciding what to do. We're like, don't know if we're going to put it under the van, or we have we call it the outside garage, so I don't know if we're going to put it in the outside garage, but we need more water. It's not enough. And then for gray water, we only have 5 gallons right now, which we're thinking about doing something under the van. The sink is great, to be honest. I'm really happy with the size of the sink. I think it's like 13 inches. Not 100% sure, and it's deep. I'm actually really, really happy with the size of the sink. We also have extra little handy board that we use on top of the sink, and it gives us more counter space for cooking. We have a drawer here for just all the cooking utensils, and then we have a storage under the oven, and we use it for trash, and we have 2 big bins that we store food in it. So we have extra storage here, and then here is the electrical panel which controls the lights, the fridge. I'm actually going to turn that on, heater, everything. We do have under the floor, we have a heated film, which we use in really cold weather conditions, because the floor gets really cold, and having kids that they're like rolling on the floor and just, we don't have crawling babies anymore, but we had at the time we installed it, and it's really nice. So, and then just inverter, the lights, and that's it really. We have fans, just charging station. You can see here how they actually, when Colin and this other guy help him, rewire everything, they just screw in the new panel. The guy was he's like a diesel mechanic for diesel engines, and he's in the boat industry, so this is, I think, you see it mainly on the boat. It came out really nice actually, because it was actually a really pain, because the whole van was already wired, and we were like, for a while we were like, what do we do? Should we start fresh? Would it makes more sense, or just use what we have? But everything was in German. We don't speak German, so it was hard. But in the end, this guy was, I don't know, he was incredible, and he helped rewire the whole thing, so we didn't have to start from scratch. So that was really good. And where the burner is right now, here was the old inverter. So we pulled that out. That was really easy. So next to the kitchen, we installed this IKEA mounting board, and it was nice. It was just for little things like toothbrush and just like stuff that, like, the pan that you just don't want, you use it all the time and you don't want to like constantly be like taking it in and out, and it actually worked really nicely. So we mounted that like, I think 2 months ago. Then next to that, we have the bed. The bed which now is a queen bed, before it was a king bed, and that was actually also a discussion, because we were like, king is really nice because it can sleep 4 people. We have really young kids, and queen is nice, but 4 people in a queen is like very tight. Next to the bed, we decided to do a long cabinet where we mainly store all the clothing. If we kept the king, which it was really nice and we both wanted to do, we had no space for our clothing. We were maybe thinking about doing something all the way in the back, which is now I'm really happy we didn't do, because like going to the back, you know, we have a net that protects the baby for not falling off the bed, and like taking that in and out. So these actually work out really nice. So we mainly keep the clothing in there, like diapers, some books, and some, like, I think medicine or toiletries, and yeah. And then we had these baskets at our home, so it kind of fitted perfectly up there. When we were packing everything down and deciding on what to bring, I think it was pretty easy for us. We done a lot of traveling in the past and we kind of knew what we needed. Obviously you always start with more than what you need, but it was surprisingly, like when we left, we still had room. So that was like a really good sign. But yeah, we kind of got rid of a few things already, but yeah, I think we did pretty good. The kids have 1 shelf and Colin and I, we both have 2 shelves for clothing. And then we keep jackets in the back. So closet, bed, under the bed, we have the fridge, which this was also a consideration. We didn't, you know, Colin found this horizontal fridge, which I'm glad we did go with it, mainly because it's more efficient. When you open the top, all the cold air doesn't escape compared to the vertical ones. The fridge is really efficient. It draws just a little bit. We never feel like we have to turn the fridge off because it's draining our battery. In terms of food, the fridge is a 40-liter and actually is more than enough for us. Like, I mean, we can be like 20 days, you know, between dry food and we mainly keep like, yeah, just whatever it needs to be refrigerated. So yeah, we do really well actually. Sometimes when we go to a supermarket, there's always a basket around with extra food. It goes really fast because we're 4, we eat a lot. I think the pull-out fridge, it was mainly on how we designed the space, and then we're like, oh, we need a pull-out fridge because we really needed the kids' seats to be over there. I mean, we could have done it where this cabinet is right now, but we felt like we needed the seats to be right there. Yeah, maybe it didn't fit under the oven. So this was really the other place. Yeah, so this is like another drawer. So what happened here, this was a little bit of a boo, I mean, not a boo, but we had somebody help us build this because we only had like 2 or 3 months to do it. The idea of the fridge was gonna be all the way in the bottom, but the guy that built it, he kind of framed this box and lifted the fridge, and this was going to be a bigger drawer, and then he couldn't find smaller rails for the fridge, and also he was concerned about the kids jumping, like standing on the fridge, which it happens all the time. So he really wanted to make sure this wasn't going to break and fall, which it was really smart. So we actually have extra storage under the fridge, which we used to have all the spices under there, but my 16-month-old left pulling all the spices out, so we were like over it. So now we like move the spices up higher, and right now it's empty, and we'll probably just like buy a box and put other stuff in there. But yeah, it's actually a really nice storage down there. Then we have a drawer where we keep kind of important documents, bills to pay. We have a scrapbook, so we keep usually like fun memory stuff that then we put in the scrapbook. And then next to the fridge, here's where we keep all the computers and cameras and yeah, just cables for charging and batteries and all that. So for us, this was, again, we really needed a space where we could keep all the camera gear and the computers and everything we need to work. I'm a photographer and I do a little bit of film, and then Colin is a producer, and we have cameras, computers, and we're also recording a podcast. So we have microphones, and we really wanted to dedicate a space in the van to keep all the gear together. We didn't want things to be scattered around the van. We just wanted one space. Also, that was why the reason that the fridge is here, because we just really wanted the space to be here. At start, we were going to put an inside lock or something to make it more secure, but that didn't happen. This is our work space. So recently we installed 2 wall shelves, which we're really happy about it, because now we can see all the spices and, you know, the tea and coffee or whatever. So we're really excited about this. And next to that, we actually installed a mirror as well, like a few days ago, which actually we're also really happy about, because now we can check ourselves in the mirror before going out to the world and talking to people. We didn't know how we looked, which is fine, but it was like, yeah, it's actually nice to have a mirror. So this is the cabinet. This is where the magic happens. This is where we work, we eat. We spend a lot of time around this little table. We have overhanging leaf here, which it was thought for my son, so he can sit in here. My son, that is 16 months old, can have this little chair. This space, actually one of our chairs fits perfectly in here, but we have some other ideas what to do in this space. We're probably gonna do a seat that is attached permanently to the wall, and then you can actually pull down the leaf and you can sit in there. So the guy that helped us build this cabinet had the great idea to have these drawers that you can actually, like, don't have handles, but it was actually not a great idea because, you know, you just press it on both sides and then they open, which is really nice, but it's actually not, because off-roads, when you're on dirt roads and the van is shaking, they think that you're like pressing them, and they started opening them. So we actually installed these hooks, and then what we do is before driving, we just cross them and avoid all the drawers from opening. But you know, it's like everything is a learning process. You just like build something that you think is going to work really well, and then it's not, which is fine. I personally didn't want drawers. I wanted cabinets that you can open, something more like this. But the awesome carpenter that helped us build the whole space, they thought that drawers will be better for the space, so that's why we went with the drawer. And this is a pretty funny situation in here, because we wanted to have a space where it'll be mainly dedicated for a charging station. Colin was like, oh, maybe it's an open space, so, you know, and I was like, no, we need a lift, so when we're driving, things don't fall off. So we had it open for a while, and my husband, Colin, just installed this a week ago, which we gotta replace because the kit's already broken. But the idea was like the lift was like going up and down, but now I think it's gonna go sideways. The idea, yeah, was to have a section that was dedicated mainly to charging and don't have computers on top of the table, and like people can see out the window and like see that we have computers and cameras. So yeah, that was the main reason why to have a charging station. And then in this drawer we store plates and glasses and then just food. And we also have a drawer dedicated for crafts, you know, paper, pencils for my kids, and then yeah, just more cooking bowls, and we have a blender, and yeah, and just a drawer for whatever. You know, we eat in the van a lot. We wanted to have a bigger table sometimes, so we created a lift that we can like pull in and out really easily. So whenever we're having dinner, we're all on the table. We usually put the lift on, and then when we're working at night, we can, or during the day, we can put the lift on. We know we used to store it right here. I don't know, it floated around, but right now we just like put it behind. There is a little thing with the lift. When you have the lift on, you can actually open the fridge. So that was like the only, and that's why we wanted the fridge to go lower. So when we started building the van, I came across a photo on the internet, and I saw that somebody had a space dedicated in a small van. I think it was a Sprinter van, and it was a space that was mainly dedicated for the kids. It was like a little cave, and I was like, oh my god, we should like totally have a space that is like dedicated for them, and they can like go and play in there, like do a mess in there, and we won't care, and they can hopefully one day sleep both of them in there. So under our bed there's the kids room, and it's great. They love it. They have all the books, they have the toys. The dog usually sleeps in the kids room. Colin usually sleeps in the kids room. Alfonso, my older one, he did actually slept in there for a week, and now he thinks there is too many monsters at night to be able to sleep in there by himself, but hopefully he will be sleeping there soon enough. So yeah, that's the kids room. And so as soon as you walk in the van, you see there is our main seated space, where when we're driving, the car seats are usually here. This seat that we have right now here, it was the original seat that came with the van. So we used that because it had the seat belts already, and it was easy, and it fitted perfectly behind this wall that separates the back from the front. And here's where usually the kids sit when we're driving. We install the car seats, and usually when we stop, what we do is like we take the car seats and put them in the front, and then we have more space in the back. So under this seat there is more storage. So there is a long drawer, and here's where we keep usually all the dry food. And this was actually going to be for the shoes, but as soon as we move in, we were like, oh no way, this is for the shoes. This is where the dry food is gonna go. Yeah, so it actually works really well. It's really nice because we don't have to open it all the time, but you know, we know here's like all the extra food we need. Yeah, and behind the seat there's actually extra space, and this is where we store the 2 chairs that we have. So we actually in the back we can sit 4 or 5, and then we have like other little chair that you know you can actually sit 6 or 7 if you wanted, but it'd be tight. As soon as you walk in the van, you can find we have storage, and this is where we keep all the shoes and extra stuff. I don't know, just ropes. It's always good to have ropes, outdoor gear, just some dirty clothing. Yeah, so we just actually built this box, and we're really excited about it, because before we just had like a basket under the seat, and you could see all the shoes, and it was a mess. So we're really excited about this box. And this is the extra basket that we usually keep with extra food. Also, as soon as you walk in, we have some hangers that we just usually keep a backpack, or like, I don't know, just the magic broom that Colin uses like 10 times a day to keep the van clean. And yeah, so above the seat, we have our bookshelf that we love. We love reading books, and I mean, we don't have too many here, but it's enough to keep us entertained and having fun on the road. And yeah, so we are really excited about this. And then above this, we keep 2 blankets, which some days are colder than other ones, so we can use on the bed. And also, this blanket is really nice. We use outside a lot and doesn't get dirty. And this one we maybe use more on the beach. Then above that, we keep this backpacking guitar. Yeah, we have hats and just fruits, and that's it.
All right, now we're gonna check out the exterior. So we've got a 1978 Mercedes 508D. The original paint, you can kind of see through a color here. It's like a bright orange. Former owner, he painted it. It's got a really nice wide window, really good view. Pretty old school here. The windows just slide open like that. They close. Got a nice chunky tire up front. So yeah, there are 2 of these knobby tires in the front. It's 2-wheel drive, so these are more just for looks, but it does help us in the terrain that we go through. And then the European tire in the back. We're in the process of switching all our tires over to a new company. One thing I forgot to mention up here, we do have working Sirens. So here's our audio. And then up top, we've got lights that turn on. So we've got 2 in the front and 1 in the back. Just gas tank here. Wish we had a little bit more. We'll probably put a bigger tank on. We're only carrying 18 gallons of diesel at the moment, which isn't enough for what we'd like to do. We don't drive with this. We're just on display here at Overland Expo as part of the DIY showcase. And we have beautiful open branding here for any company that would like to work with us, and we can talk about that after the fact. Okay, so this is the rear of the vehicle. We've got a nice step here that helps us get in and out. Nice feature. This was a command and control center, so this is how they'd get in and out of the rig for their meetings in the back here. So the way that we decided to split this up was to have our gear garage on the left. And as you saw in the front of the vehicle, that's also where our fridge and our camera case is. And then just back here, that's all fully dedicated to extra gear, tools, our printer, and then anything else that we need. And then as I showed you up front, this is our son's room. We've got a nice sliding door here, so we can shut it down, and then if there's a fire up front or we need an emergency escape, just slide it open and we get out. We also have our S-Bar diesel heater back in here. This came original with the truck. That's right in there, and a little wardrobe up here with some jackets, and then over here we have our very simple but effective toilet, and then some extra storage in here. Everybody wants to know about the toilet. So ours is very cheap, and we didn't have a ton of space. So what we do, we just have a little 3-gallon bucket. We use bags and kitty litter, and we don't use it every day all the time, but for us it works out, and we couldn't drop $1,000 on a toilet at this time. So we have 2 kids, and for sleeping up top, our 1.5-year-old, he still sleeps upstairs with us. We installed this cargo netting on both sides, so this is permanent. It doesn't come on and off, whereas the front, we take it on and off each night, but that helps us to have a good night's rest and know that our kids aren't going to fall out on their faces. So now I'll take you up to the roof. Okay, so it was really hard for us to find a roof rack that would fit this rig. It's got the bubble top. We worked with a company called Vantech out of Brooklyn, and they have a 28-inch foot made out of aluminum, powder-coated aluminum. So we got 10 feet and 5 crossbars. So the first 2, they hold our solar. We have 2 260-watt residential panels. So they're really big. We're hoping they'd fit the other way, but they didn't quite do it. So we have tiltable mounts. I haven't need to use those yet because our solar works quite well. Back here, we've got our Thule box. We had ski gear in it this winter. We may get rid of that, we'll see. And then on this side, we've got 4 surfboards for when we hit the coast a bit more and we'll be surfing. This bag isn't here. It just got here because we had a bit of travel and some gear exchange to do. And maybe in the future we'll have a rooftop deck here. The Thule's great for extra gear storage, but because we'll be in warmer climates over the next phase of our journey, we're not going to need ski gear. We may swap it out for a boat, a canoe, a kayak, or SUPs. We'll see, but it takes up a lot of space up here for another toy or toys that could be used for our lifestyle. So we've got 2 windows here that pop up, kind of like submarine style windows. We also have 2 fans that were original, so we didn't have to cut any holes in the roof for that. They do intake and outtake, each one, until we messed up the wiring, so that doesn't work anymore, but one does intake and one does outtake. And then behind you, we've got our aerial mast, which is a pretty unique feature of this rig. It goes about 30 feet in the air and will be our future either wind turbine or have our Wi-Fi and signal booster on that, but still trying to figure that out. So the mast reads Einsatzleitung, which in German translates as command and control. So this was a fire command and control center. So the front half of the vehicle was called the Funkraum, and that's translated as the radio room, and the back was the Gesprochen room, and the planning room, the discussion room. And so you had your radio guys up front with their antennas up here. There was a number of antennas, anywhere from 3 feet to 9 feet to 30 feet. And this is kind of HQ for whatever emergency situation was going down. But for us, it's cool because the inside is soundproofed. And so we're recording a podcast from the road. It's called Rewilding Parenthood. So we're talking about interviewing other families leading these bold lifestyles. And so for us, it's repurposing this communications rig to fit our lifestyle in the way that we need it to produce content from the road. So this was the original generator shed for the vehicle. For us, we decided to use it for most of our systems. So right now we're just packing 3 5.5 gallon jugs of water. It has pluses and minuses. It's really handy to go to a spigot and fill up, but we only have 16.5 gallons. So we go through about 5 gallons per day as a family of 4. So really we've got 3 to 4 days unless we're close to a freshwater resource where we can use that for dishes and that kind of thing. We also have a Nemo Helio pressure shower. That's our main shower. So you just throw that, leave it in the sun, and blow it up with your foot and have a shower. Back here we have our propane. We have a propane stove. We're really excited about the Camp Chef to have a full-size cooktop and stove. As a family of 4, we do a lot of, we cook every meal. We can't afford to go out to eat and do a tour of America eating, even though we'd love to. And then we have a 5-gallon bucket in there as our gray water system. So this was built in Maine. We have a 12-volt water pump in here. So this was built in Maine in January as a means to ensure that if anything froze, it's not going to be catastrophic. It's also really simple, and it's worked for us, and we haven't needed to change it, but I think in the future we may just convert that to one big water box, probably hold 50 gallons, and mean that we can just spend a lot more time off-road and then do our gray underneath, and maybe an undermounted propane, we'll see. And then last, this is our plug-in here when we need it. We don't really plug in, so thanks to the way we designed our system, but in the winter, or if we're parked up somewhere for a while and have some heavier electrical needs and the weather's not cooperating, we've got like a 50-foot cord there that we can plug in from. So like I was saying, here's a stub nose. It's a Ohm 314 Mercedes engine. So it only packs about 80 horsepower, really small, but it's also known as the Mercedes million-mile engine. So we bought it with 25,000 kilometers on it, and we put another 25 on, and we're hoping that we can do 1 million. So fortunately, there's a really avid group on Facebook, that you can ask any question about any part on here and somebody has fixed it, if not half the group. So they're really helpful for somebody, a novice like me, not knowing where I can get parts or how to fix it or what the issue is. You know, with a 41-year-old vehicle, they've been around for a long time, and this group has been servicing them for a long time. All right, welcome to the captain's seat. So we got a big steering wheel, old control panels. When I first bought it, I had no idea which button does what, but it's pretty simple. Most of the lights don't really work anymore. But it's a manual. We've got our start button. This turns the vehicle on and off. It's a plunger, which basically cuts the diesel flow. We've got a number of fans and lights here. We also have our lights that turn on. We also have our sirens. I won't turn them on right now because there's a class right there. Taped on an old Casio so we know what time it is. We've got our level so we know how we're parked. The engine compartment is in here, dog box, so you know it's the stub nose. So you've got your main engine there, and then we've got batteries under here. A little bit of extra storage for oil and skateboards and monopods and that kind of thing. So miles per gallon, we're due between like 11 to 14, depending on elevation and what kind of hills we're driving on, highway, that sort of thing. I love driving it. I have 2 kids, so driving is kind of my therapy. It's my quiet time, and I can turn on a podcast. Driving from 10 to 1 a.m. is like a relaxation for me. It is loud, so we did put a metal-lined floor liner underneath the floor matting and also inside the dog box to take the sound out a wee bit. And but it's a pleasure to drive. I mean, it's got the huge windscreen. You can see everything. You're up high, and we only do about 60 miles an hour tops on highway, and if we're climbing any hills, it's more like 15. So if you're behind us, just wave and say hi and know we're doing our best. We got to do a shout out to Matt. When we bought the vehicle, this was the last thing he told me: do this, do this. So Matt, we're doing our best here. This is our window to the world. So we've got some mementos from places we've been. We got our kid carrier here, and we got our chili peppers to keep the bad spirits away for our New Mexico chili peppers. And what else? Oh, these shades are kind of cool too. I'll show those in a second. We've got our telephone in case we need to call you or 911 or our friends or anybody. It's a lot of fun for the kids, right, Alf? What do you think? Who is that?
Gus.
Gus? Oh, what's up, Gus? All right, man, we'll talk to you soon. And then what else? We have these shades are original to the van. They're amazing. They're from the 70s. They're German, and look at this functionality. Goes all the way down, and let's go over the bump there. Retractable. They're beautiful. And the last feature up here, you can stay right there. This is our, we custom made this with our neighbor before we left. She's a seamstress. And this helps us for privacy, and also in the winter time back in Maine when it's really cold. This helped to keep the cold air from coming through all the front windows. So that just drops down, magnets in, and nobody can see what's going on. Thanks for checking out our rig. You can find us on Instagram
at Afuera Vida, AFFUERA
That's it. On our website, sign up for our newsletter, afueravida.com. We'll start a YouTube channel at some point, so don't take it. And stay tuned for the journey ahead.
Yeah.
The links
Thank you
will
for
all be down
watching.
below.